I mean, I already started started created a broadcast for
Yeah.
YouTube. I just hadn't started it yet.
I forgot your Ninja link is supposed to be the same.
Should be the same, allegedly.
But it's the same as the one from when we were streaming with Peter. There we go.
Yeah, I think.
Man. Windows 11, there's all kinds of like crazy things you can do to like. Sorry, I sneezed because your cat is beside the microphone. Uh, um, there's like all kinds of when you drag a window up to the top,
Yeah.
it like brings up all these different versions of like multi-window setups, which is super cool. And so like it's like, hey, oh, you want to split it into two? Sure, here you go.
Huh.
So that's pretty cool. Okay.
All right. Um. Yeah, that's what I want right there. Cool.
What are we? YouTube.com/, what?
We don't have a channel one
No.
yet. 'Cause you have to have like 100 subs before you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
But I shared it in the
I
Discord.
actually just found us via search.
Oh, nice.
Probably because I subscribed to our channel. So
That probably helps.
noise.
I think I'm ready whenever you are.
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Okay. Go ahead and click the start recording, and then we'll hop right into it, man.
Let's do it.
What is going on, everybody? The glorious gift to mankind known as Sportstober is upon us. We got NHL kicking off tonight.
Oh.
MLB playoffs are in full swing. The NFL is right through the quarter mark. College football is heating up. NBA starts next week. It is a good time to be alive as a sports fan. What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Booth Review. As always, I'm your host, Devin from Roche, joined by my brother from another mother, Mr. Blake Ivy. What is going on, man?
Man, had to watch the Braves lose a heartbreaker to the Phillies today, lost by 1 run, which was a bummer. But excited that postseason baseball is here
Yes,
because, as you
sir.
know, it's the only time I pay attention to baseball is postseason baseball.
It is a long season.
It is,
It's
it is,
it's
and
it's it's a little. I mean, I feel like they could easily cut probably 40 or 50 games and it'd be just fine. But I mean, I get it because it's a series sport, you know.
yeah, yeah, and you know what? I think that for those who truly love baseball, like you
Yeah.
do, and like some other friends of ours, like, hey, I'm all for it. Just like run it, because I know as a football fan, it's like, man, I would love more games. I would love. There's nothing worse than when the season is over and you're like, man, we have to wait so long.
Yeah, but
So
the tough thing with football, and this is something that I've argued as my reasoning against extending the season in football, is that with the NFL and in college too, every game matters.
oh
Every
yeah,
game means something, and
yeah,
so the more games you add, the less meaning games have.
that's true.
And so, like, that's kind of my problem with hockey, basketball, and baseball is that regular season almost doesn't matter, especially with hockey and basketball, just because of how many teams get into the postseason.
Oh yeah,
I was against expanding playoffs for the NFL for a long time. I think what they have now is pretty good. I like the idea
Yeah.
of the 1 seed meaning something. You get the first round bye, and that's it. But I was against it for a long time because I didn't want to get to a point to where everybody got in and it was meaningless regular season, because who cares, as long as you're 500, you're getting a spot in the postseason. And I mean, I think the same thing happens with extending the season with more games, is they just become meaningless. You get too many, but I'm with you. More football means more excitement.
I'll be interested to see how I know the NBA wants to start doing these like mid-season tournaments.
Yeah,
and,
I
like,
do like that idea.
which is something that soccer does, and so I would love to see how that can kind of like incorporate into, a sport like basketball, to make a longer season seem more important on, on a nightly basis. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that could be tons of fun. And
yeah,
basketball, I think, is a good sport to like find a way to incorporate that, because it's kind of run similar, and the hockey's the same way. They're both kind of run similar to soccer schedule, to where like you don't play a couple games in a row. It's like a game and then a couple day break, game, whatever. Typically, I mean, you do get back to backs, but yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, well, in NFL wise, it was definitely a bummer for both of our teams this week. I listen. I just want to say, I don't want to talk about the terrible pass interference call. I mean, terrible roughing the passer call, because I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired. Like it.
Well, it's gonna get mentioned at some point.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying, like, as far as I'm concerned, I could probably spend the entire podcast, I think we both could,
Yeah.
ranting about the impact that these stupid roughing the passer calls have on the game. And I know you have experienced it with Clay Matthews. Clay Matthews used to get them all the time.
Yep.
And yeah, just the whole thing. So
I mean,
like,
it was
that was
just
super frustrating. I think that Atlanta definitely, that's a winnable game at that point. And the defense did what you needed them to do it. And that's all I'm going to say about it. But it was painful. It was frustrating. As soon as it happened, I just left. Like, I was done. But I will say I'm a little underprepared this week. We had an event at church, which Steve and I, Steve at church, we came in first place in the cornhole tournament. So we won.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice
I know. We did well. So Steve carried me a little bit. He's pretty good at cornhole. I'm not bad myself, but and then that night I had to come home and finish a paper for seminary. So I was I didn't get to see any of the Ravens and Bengals game.
Okay.
I don't think I got to see any of it. But so I was a little bit away from my TV more so than I would like to have been, but I did get to catch up. I was watching the 1:00 games on Red Zone, and obviously a heavy attention on the Falcons.
Yeah.
But
I do think that Sunday night game was almost the reverse of what we got on Thursday night, where it was just garbage game, garbage offense. Like, it wasn't even that the defenses were playing super well. It's just the offenses were so inept and couldn't do anything. And then the flip side on that Sunday night game, while it was kind of low scoring, I mean, I think both teams, I think it was like 2017, something like that. While it was kind of low scoring, it's because both defenses were playing well. Like, both teams were able to move the ball still and create some explosion offensively, but both teams also played excellent defense.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like that Rams 49ers game a couple weeks ago, where the 49ers defense was just lights out.
Yeah.
And so it's like, just because a game is low scoring doesn't mean it's boring. But for sure, that Thursday night game was an absolute snoozer of a game. Maybe the worst. Like, I didn't even finish watching it. I had no idea until the next morning that Matt Ryan, I was like, this is so boring. I can't, like, I love football. And for the most part, I enjoy a good low scoring game because it means good defense.
Yeah, typically.
That game was terrible.
Well, I mean, if we're already starting off on negative foot, should we just switch things up and start with under review?
Let's do it. Let's get the bad out of the way. Under review. First of all, just the Thursday night, we'll just honorary under review is that the Bengals are on prime. I mean, that the Broncos are on prime time. Way too much. Way too much.
They're on prime time again this week.
That's what I was going to say. They got prime time again this week. And it's like, man, we have to watch this struggle bus.
Yep.
Just it's so terrible. So honorary under review is the fact that we have to watch the Denver Broncos in prime time far too many times but in fairness, they've let everyone down. So
Well, I can start us off since
do it.
Since mine is kind of all encompassing of a bunch of games this past weekend. My under review is just all of the dumb decisions, every single one of them. Like meaningful at meaningful spots of games being idiots. It started off in that Thursday night game, which somehow went to overtime because after 4 quarters, both teams were scored at 9 apiece because both offenses are garbage. We go to overtime. The Colts managed to kick a field goal. Broncos get a chance. They're driving down the field. They get to 4th and 1 from their own 5 in overtime with 2 minutes and 36 seconds left. We could just easily kick the field goal. Keep it a tie game. Play for the tie.
So not their own 5.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Gotcha.
On the Colts 5.
Yeah.
Easy chip shot field goal. Just tie the game. Play for the tie. Move on because neither team deserves to win. What does Nathaniel Hackett do? No, let's go back out there. Send our offense back out there. Go for the win. They lose. Cost yourself a game, Nathaniel Hackett. Might have cost yourself your job, honestly. Should probably cost yourself your job. Let's move over to Sunday, shall we? We get the Chargers versus the Browns. 4th and 2 from their own 45 with a 2-point lead. 1 minute and 14 seconds left. Staley decides to Staley. And he decides to go for it on 4th and 2 from his own 45. Which, just so you're aware, if you turn the ball over there, that's a pretty, you just got to go 5 to 10 yards to get into field goal range.
Yeah.
Which is what happened. Cleveland got a first down, got into field goal range, and missed the 54-yard field goal. So, the Chargers sneak away with a win because Cleveland missed a field goal.
Didn't
For the record, that's the only dumb decision that actually worked in favor because of, whatever.
Just Cade York's error. He's a rookie. It's okay. Let's
go down to Jacksonville, where we had Jacksonville Jaguars, the Houston Texans. Doug Peterson went for it on 4th down 3 times in this game. 3 times. This is a losing effort by the Jaguars. They end up losing to the Texans. But in the second quarter, tied at 3 apiece on their own, or actually on Houston's 37, which would have been a 54-yard field goal, they go for it on 4th and 4. 4th and 4.
Idiot.
Then, in the fourth quarter, early on,
and it was tied.
When they're tied 6-6,
both tied.
They're tied 6-6 from the same exact spot on 4th and 1. They decide to go for it again. That's 6 points left on the field from not attempting 54-yard field goals. I'm all for analytics, statistics, whatever, what have you. But don't be dumb about it. Make smart decisions. That's just the coaching dumb decisions. Then,
hold on. Let me jump in on this. We've talked about when to go for it on 4th down. Honestly, the Chargers one makes a little bit of sense because your offense is clicking that day. Everything was going well for the Chargers offense. Things are going.
It was in the first half.
Right. I guess that's true. Yeah. And so it doesn't make sense if your offense isn't like the Denver Broncos. Your offense has been struggling all year. You guys can't put up points all year. So when it's 4th and 5, although the numbers probably are still not on your side, but even if the numbers were on your side, your momentum of your offense is not. Same thing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They struggled offensively on Sunday. And so when you're struggling to go for it on 4th down with a struggling offense, that doesn't make any sense.
Agreed.
I understand if your offense is rolling, you're moving, and it's like, okay, let's do this. But it just is stupid decisions based on analytics with the moment aside.
Yep.
So anyway, sorry. I don't not to interrupt and hijack your under review, but
no, that's fine because it's kind of split into two sections. Because again, that's just the coaching dumb decisions. Then we get the stupid decisions by the refs to cost us exciting moments in games. 2 awful roughing the passer calls. First, on Sunday, Atlanta is down 6. Tampa has the ball 3rd and 5 on the Atlanta 47, 3 minutes left. What do? You got to get a stop. What does Gray Jarrett do? He sacks Tom Brady as clean as you can sack a quarterback. We talk about the strike zone being the chest. Right in there. Didn't go low, didn't go for the legs, didn't hit him high in the head, right in the chest area, as clean as you can sack a quarterback.
Didn't body slam him? Didn't put his weight on him?
Picture perfect. Roughing the passer, because Jerome Boger is an idiot that doesn't know what the hell he's doing out there. No. Then, the next day, after everybody in the whole universe can agree that's a bogus call.
Yeah.
Monday Night Football, Vegas against Kansas City. Vegas is up 17-7, and they have the ball on 3rd and 8 from their own 46 with just over a minute left in the first half. So they're driving down the field. Chris Jones got an absolutely beautiful strip sack. I mean, if you could not find a better strip sack anywhere in highlights, probably.
No.
Gets called roughing the passer. 2 meaningful drives and 2 meaningful spots. This is dumb BS. And somebody on the radio today brought up a good point. You know, NFL is starting to get in business with these, as sports gambling becomes prominent, starts getting in business with these sports books. And whether or not they actually have anything to do with fixing games, I don't want to go that far as to say that they're involved in that.
Yeah.
They do have a direct involvement in figuring out a way to get these refs to be better. And these calls can affect the outcome of games. Sure, because the line was massive in that Atlanta-Tampa Bay game, Atlanta did cover the spread. However, they didn't win outright, and they didn't even get a chance to win outright because of this call.
Yep.
So I just think it's a bad look for the NFL if they don't do something about this. And the fact that you had 2 bad calls as bad as this on back-to-back nights is awful. Straight up awful.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about it from that. You know, you brought up that they said on the radio that just like the gambling side of it, that it's like you now owe it more to your fans to let it be, to get the calls right. You
exactly.
know, like you owe it to the fans who are now not just investing their time, but also investing money that you're encouraging. Like as the NFL, you are encouraging them to do this. And so you should take their money and our time, if we're being honest, seriously. Like that's a weight that should be respected. So yeah, that's a great point. But those were 2 terrible calls. I hate them.
I'm starting to feel like maybe Tom Brady is the Undertaker of the NFL against Atlanta. You know, going into this game, he was 10-0 against Atlanta, and he got a bogus call to keep the streak alive. I don't know if you know about the Undertaker at WrestleMania, but for a long time it was known that the Undertaker doesn't lose at WrestleMania. He went like 31-0 before somebody beat him at WrestleMania, and so Brock Lesnar ended the streak.
Ooh.
Yeah, a lot of people were upset about that because a lot of hardcore wrestling fans don't really love Brock Lesnar because he's kind of a part-timer that comes in and does what he wants and then leaves and goes to the UFC or takes 6 months off.
Is he a heel?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. But yeah, The Undertaker doesn't lose at WrestleMania, and apparently Tom Brady doesn't lose against Atlanta. Just no matter what, doesn't lose.
Yep, NFL can't have that happen.
Yeah. Anyways, there's my negative rant of the day. So
under review, everybody making decisions.
Yeah, just
do
everybody,
better.
Everybody
do better. Us making terrible picks. Do better.
I'm trying, Coach.
Yeah, we probably should have put us in there on terrible decisions. I don't think either. I think both of us have only had one winning week. The rest of them, we've just gone even.
I went 9-7 this week.
You did. That's a winning week. I think this is your only one. I think every other time you've gone 8-8 or less.
That checks out.
So for me, under review, I have the question mark that is Trevor Lawrence. What
Yeah.
I feel like he is just a Jeopardy answer at this point. Is who is Trevor Lawrence? Who is Trevor Lawrence? Are we watching a quarterback who is going to be good in the NFL? Which is honestly like that's kind of what it's looked like this year. It's like, is he developing?
Yeah.
Sunday we saw no, Davis Mills is still the best quarterback from that draft class. Sadly,
Oh.
Trevor Lawrence. Okay, again that was a bit drastic, but I mean, especially Sunday, Trevor Lawrence threw for 53% against the Texans. Hold, please. Yes, sir. Oh, you want to come say hey to Uncle Bud? Come here. You're supposed to be in bed.
Hey, Uncle Bud.
What up, knucklehead?
Hey, go to bed. I love you. Mommy's gonna yell at you if you don't go. You better go.
Love you, knucklehead.
He said, "Love you." Hey, close my door. You're raised in a barn. Thank you. Love you. Go away. I love you. Go to bed. Don't get up again. All right. So I'm kind of glad to pause there because I forgot to actually put his. I have like most of his stat line, but I don't have the whole thing. So just I said he threw for 53%. That's what I stopped. He was 25 of 47, 286 yards, which is a whole lot of yards.
Yeah.
286 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks, a QBR of 32, and a quarterback rating of 54.
Oof.
Absolutely terrible. You know what's crazier? Not like he was under tremendous pressure all game. There was 1 QB hit. He was not sacked a single time all game. And yet, here he is only completing 53% of his passes. And who did he play? Was this against the Steelers defense? Was this against the mighty, mighty Cowboys? No! It was against the second best team in Texas, also known as like the 30th best team in the league. The Houston Texans. You could only complete 53% of your passes against the Texans? Who were you scared of? Who was causing this fear in you? Like, I don't know. I have no idea how on earth you get into this situation where you just absolutely like there's no excuse. He just couldn't play quarterback on this day. And like I was trying to figure out what happened. They went for it on fourth too many times. Sure, they might have been able to kick a 54-yard field goal. I mean, if we're being honest, nobody knows anything about Riley Patterson, the kicker for Jacksonville, and I know that because I just found him here.
But I feel like if you're an NFL kicker, you should be able to kick a 50+ yarder. I think that I would say with at least like 65% to 70% accuracy, you should be able to kick a 50+ yarder. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I think you should at least give him at least one chance, you know? And if he misses the first time, then sure, maybe the second time you're in the same spot, you go for it. I would understand that.
His longest in his career is 52 yards. So, like, this is not a guy who has done a whole lot of distance kicking. And that 52-yarder was this year.
Hey, Justin Tucker's longest was 64 until he got to try a 66-yarder.
So. I understand, but like if you don't think your guy can do it, like if he doesn't hit from that in practice, then he's probably not going to do it in a game. But I mean, regardless, like I just don't understand how a quarterback that is supposed to be a generational talent throws for 53% and 2 picks, never sacked against the Texans.
Yeah.
It's just like this Texans team is the most confusing team to me in the entirety of the NFL because this was their first win of the season. But so far, their games have been 20-20 against the Colts, 16-9 against the Broncos, 23-20 against the Bears, 34-24 against the Chargers, and they were surging there at the end against the Chargers last week. So like I don't know how this team is as bad as they are. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on anything. But I mean, I don't know. But in this game, the Jags had 422 yards of total offense. The Texans had 248, so almost double the total yards.
Wow.
Houston had 56 total plays. The Jags had 73 total plays. So I just don't understand. Like, and it all comes down to quarterback play. I mean, Davis Mills, he showed up like 16 for 24, 140
he was
yards.
not stellar.
Like, he wasn't stellar, but he wasn't bad. Didn't throw for any touchdowns. Didn't throw for any picks. Like, I don't know what to do with Trevor Lawrence. That's why I put him under review.
Yeah,
he's under review. Trevor Lawrence, get it together.
Yeah, it is tough because you would hope to see a little bit more from him in his second year, and like you said, like through the first 4 weeks, he was looking pretty solid. He looked like he was taking the right steps forward, and then he comes out with a game like this, and it's tough to know exactly what you have, especially against a subpar Texans defense. As far as the Texans go, like I think the Texans are pretty much what we thought they were in our preview, to where like there's some talented individuals on this team with potential, but as a whole it's not very good, and it's probably poorly coached, with the interesting hire of Lovie Smith. But can they show up for a game here and there? Probably. And I think they've done that this year,
Yeah. So who knows? But anyway, who you got as your good? We started with the bad this week. Well, let's shift gears.
Well, if we're shifting gears, we're going to shift gears real hard, and go to
Trevor Lawrence.
From Trevor Lawrence's awful play to maybe best quarterback in the league, Josh Allen's masterful Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I get this. The Steelers defense is still good, although not as good without TJ Watt out there. But what Josh Allen did to them on Sunday was something else. 20 of 31 for 424 yards, 4 touchdowns. Did have the 1 pick. But a QBR of 86.2, a passer rating of 134.1. And I got to mention his go-to deep threat, Gabe Davis, who, you want to hear a ridiculous stat line. This is his stat line.
Oh, I know.
He had 3 receptions, 3 catches. You would think, okay, guy's got 3 catches. Maybe he goes off and gets like 50, 60 yards on it.
What could he possibly have with 3 receptions?
3 receptions for 171 yards, and 2 of those catches going for touchdowns. I think the two touchdown catches were long ones. I know he had a 98-yard touchdown reception. I think he had another one that was like 50-ish or 60-ish, where Josh Allen, I mean, literally, that's one of the prettiest passes I've ever seen. Josh Allen literally placing it only where Gabe Davis can get it by reaching his hand out, and it literally just falling right into. I mean, amazing.
And then did you see? Was that the one that he had to snatch away from Minka Fitzpatrick? Isn't that who it was?
No,
Did you see that one?
I mean, I watched most of this game, but literally, he's running in stride, has his defender beat, and Josh Allen literally places it right over his head into Gabe Davis's outstretched hand.
Yeah, and so when he brought it in to his hand.
Okay, yes. I know what you're talking about.
Fitzpatrick grabbed it and pulls it into his chest, and then Gabe Davis just yanks it back. And I was like, what a bad dude. Like, that was a boss move.
Amazing play.
Yeah, I mean it was beautifully placed, and but also very well defended. Like
Yeah.
he was exactly where he needed to be. That when Gabe Davis pulled that ball into his chest, he was also giving it to the defender,
Yeah.
and then Gabe Davis just said, "No, this one's mine." Touchdown.
I went back
Thank
and
you.
I went back and looked at the actual air yardage that ball was in the air from Josh Allen's hand to Gabe Davis's hand, and I
Yeah.
believe it was somewhere in the 63 to 65 yard mark.
Holy
You're talking
cow.
about a guy that can throw a ball 60 plus yards and drop it on a dime. Amazing work. I mean, me and you are already both big fans of Josh Allen. I don't need
Oh,
to
yeah.
gush over him anymore. But yeah, best of the booth, Josh Allen, Gabe Davis. Fantastic work on Sunday. Fantastic work.
Just ridiculous. Yeah, I speaking of the 170 mark, my best of the booth is also somebody who had over 170 yards on Sunday,
Yeah?
and that is old Austin Eckler. And now listen, we have been pretty slanderous of Austin Eckler in the past. That we've said that he is not a playmaker; he's just opportunistic, and so when he gets the opportunities, he does well with those.
Yeah.
But this week was a little bit different. He was an absolute monster. So you want to know what's crazy about Austin Eckler's day on Sunday? Coming into this game, I've already given away like kind of the punchline. So this Sunday,
Yeah.
he had 173 rushing yards. Do you want to just take a stab in the dark at how many rushing yards he had in the first 4 weeks of the season leading up to this?
Probably like 150.
Yeah, that was very, very good guess. 140. He had 140 yards, and this week he had 173 yards. He more than doubled his yardage for the season in one day. And that
That's crazy.
included a 71-yard touchdown run. He also had 26 receiving yards, which bothers me a little bit because it adds up to just 199 yards for the day. And I'm like, you guys couldn't give it to him like one more time? Like, let him get one more yard.
Yeah.
So just so he has a nice even 200. But I mean, I don't think anybody's complaining about his 199-yard day with 2 total touchdowns. So I mean, just absolutely monstrous day for Austin Eckler against a pretty good Browns defense. Like the Browns defense is not they're not bums, especially because Myles Garrett was back. So like it's not like they're just they're not a terrible defense. So props to Austin Eckler, best of the booth, absolute monster on Sunday.
Yeah, hence, I mean, hats off to him. Amazing day for Eckler. And yeah, I've been pretty critical of him. I think I want to say I did a streamed a fantasy draft I did before the season, and I think I talked about how I don't understand why Eckler is going so high in fantasy drafts, and I still don't love him, but he balled out on Sunday. I got nothing bad I can say about his performance on Sunday. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We got a legit or counterfeit?
Always, man. I'm
All
always
right.
on it with the LOC. So it's a lock for the LOC. So we're now officially over a quarter of the way through the season. So I'm gonna come at you with another rapid fire legit or counterfeit.
Okay.
Rapid fire of the current division leaders in each one of the divisions. And I want you to tell me if you think that they're legit and they're going to win the division, or if you think they're counterfeit and they're going to get dethroned. Okay, so Buffalo Bills.
Legit.
With
Easy.
you. Legit.
Easy.
Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh. In that division, legit.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think there's anybody who's better than them.
It's tough though, because I still don't love that defense, but yeah.
Tennessee Titans. That's a terrible
the
division.
garbage division. I'll say legit, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
I think it's them. I would love to see the Jags do it.
Yeah.
But after this past week, I'm not sure that they've got it in them. So, and then Kansas City Chiefs.
Legit.
Yeah.
And it's
I'm with
only
you on that.
because I think everybody else has had a really slow start, or unsurprisingly bad start, like the Broncos and Raiders.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the Chargers to me they're just so banged up.
Right,
Like
that's what I'm
I
saying.
don't know if they can catch them at this point.
I think there's still time because they're what? They're only 2 games back or 1 game back.
Yeah, but I just still think that just the steam they've got, like
That's fair. Yeah.
getting guys back, and will they be completely healthy? Hopefully, the Chargers are able to put it together for the postseason. But
Yeah, definitely.
moving over to the NFC, NFC East. I'm not going to give you titles. I'll forget them. We got the Philadelphia Eagles, legit or counterfeit?
I'll say legit, but that Dallas defense
Yeah, special.
is amazing. And once Dak gets healthy and comes back, and that offense can be that much better with him instead of Cooper Rush, that's gonna be a fun division chase to watch.
It will be. Minnesota Vikings.
Legit.
Yeah, I'm with you. Sam.
Begrudgingly legit.
Yep. Also begrudgingly the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Again, this is very similar to the AFC South, where it's like all these teams are not good,
Yeah, the
But-
NFC, both of the South, the AFC
Yeah,
South,
yeah.
NFC South, terrible divisions.
I'm gonna say legit again, just because I don't know. Like if it's not gonna be them, who's it gonna be?
Yeah,
So
I don't see the Saints or the Panthers taking it, and the Falcons is a stretch.
Yeah.
Possible, but a stretch.
Yeah,
Then San Francisco 49ers.
legit.
I don't
Yeah.
see anybody in that division dethroning them.
How crazy would it be if all 8 of these teams stay the division leader the rest of the?
I mean, it
mean-
really is possible.
Yeah.
Like, I think these are probably the 8 best. Well, I wouldn't say the 8 best because, like, give me 2 teams from any other division
Right,
over
yeah.
the Titans or the Bucks. Like,
Yeah,
the Eagles. You've got the Cowboys in that division. Probably the Packers in the NFC North.
I think the Eagles and Cowboys is the only one that has a really good chance of flipping.
Yeah.
After the Packers' performance on Sunday, I'm starting to get worried about them.
I might contend that maybe the Dolphins could be in contention to overtake the Bills.
Depending
And-
on Tua and when he comes back and what he looks like
Yeah.
at quarterback again, I potentially yes.
So, anyway, I just think that's interesting. I when I looked at it, I was like, you know what? These really could be the 8 division winners, and they could just sit there for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Or maybe not sit there, but probably will end up there the end of the season. So,
Yeah. Solid, legit, or counterfeit.
thank you. I do what I can. Try to keep things interesting.
I think the doggo is about to go crazy, so I'm gonna go let her out real quick. All
Yeah.
right, Lou, let's go.
Bo. Let's take a look at some. About to get picky with it, man. No.
All right.
All right.
Well, as we always do, I say we put week 5 in the rear view and head on over to week 6. And hey, let's get piggy with it, man.
No, getting picky with it. No, getting picky with it. No, getting picky with it. Bow. I keep thinking I need to make like a real song, and then I don't because I don't have time. And then I think, you know what? It's pretty fine the way it is.
Well, it is pretty good. And I'll say it's a lot better than what this Thursday night game is going to be.
It's true.
If you thought...
Wait. before we get into it,
Yeah.
we have to know the records. The most important part. As long as I'm in the lead, I will make sure.
I don't think it's important, but if you say so.
So, at this point of the season, we are both in the negative. We both have losing pick records.
Sounds about right.
I am 39-40-1, and you are 38-41-1. So I still have a 1-game lead on you. You caught me by 1 this week.
I'm making up ground. I'm doing
You
it.
did. You made up ground. You just got to make sure we're on odd disagreements.
All right.
So,
well, if you thought last Thursday's game between the Colts and Broncos was bad, this Thursday is going to be a real doozy also. We have the Washington Commanders heading into Soldier Field to take on the Chicago Bears. Both these teams are a mess. I don't think either team is good, although Chicago did put up a fight, surprisingly, against the Vikings late in that game, and the Commanders' offense has looked pretty good at times. Currently, Vegas has this line at even, which I think is fair, because who knows what the heck is going to happen. Both these teams are poop. I liked what we did last week, where I gave my pick before turning it over to you. Thought that was pretty cool and fresh and different. So I'm taking Washington in this game. I don't know why. I don't know what has compelled me to pick this team. Honestly, I don't want to pick either one of these teams to win. I think they should both get losses and just move on. But they can't. Somebody's got to win. And I'm hoping that either, if you haven't seen, Ron Rivera criticized his own quarterback this week. And
just savage.
I'm hoping that either one of two things happens. Either that lit a fire under Carson Wentz to perform better, or he does the smart and sensible thing of turning over the reins to Taylor Heinicke, which I don't think is going to happen because for whatever reason, the organization is just against giving that kid a shot. But whatever. What do I know? I'm not a head coach. So I'm taking the Commanders, mainly because I don't think the Bears are that good. So over to you, good sir. Who you got, man?
I actually, for some reason, am picking the Bears. I think that they have started to lean into the fact that Justin Fields is not a thrower of the football. And if he does throw the football, let's just throw it like 10 yards to Cole Kmet. And
he had a nice deep one on Sunday
Mooney. To Darnell Mooney. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that happen. But I think that if I kept looking at the team stats. We're at the point of the season where I've started to I'm getting back into the team stats because they mean something now.
Yeah.
You know, when it's 2 games, it's one of those games was against the Jets, which again, who knows anything about the Jets. So looking, and I kept getting confused and looking at the Giants and forgetting which game I was actually supposed to look at because I actually don't have a team picked on that game. Spoiler alert. So I was looking at it. The Commies have one of the most average run defenses in the league. Just smack middle of the pack, maybe a smidge above halfway when it comes to run defenses.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to pass defense, the Bears are top 10.
Okay.
So I think that when it comes to matchup of strengths, I kind of like Chicago's ability to stop the pass, which is really the only threat. I mean, no knock against Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson coming back this week, just dope. I love that guy got shot in the leg and then he was dressed on Sunday. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, maybe he's able to get something going. I would love to see that. He was a stud in college, and so, see him get going in the NFL. Neither here nor there. I'm going with the Bears. I don't know why. They're home. They're home.
Sure.
They can run the ball consistently.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Hey, starting off good with a disagreement. So
disagreements.
I'm here for it. let's
Start the day.
let's stop talking about this garbage game and move
Yeah,
over to Sunday.
Please do. Are you okay? Here's the real question: are you actually going to watch that Thursday night game?
I don't know, man. Probably at least pay attention to it some. I might not like watch it like I've done most of the primetime games, but I'll probably have it on my phone and pay attention to it some. Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can almost guarantee I'll be asleep before the game is over.
yeah. I mean, if it gets interesting, then I'll definitely turn it on. But I don't see a way in which this game gets interesting.
No.
But moving over to Sunday,
Yeah.
starting us off at 1 p.m. over on Fox, we have the New York Jets flying high after a 40-point offensive performance, heading into Lambeau to take on the Green Bay Packers, who had a 2-touchdown lead on the Giants and blew it, losing that game 27-22, I think was the final score. I don't know. I've blacked it out of my memory. Currently, Green Bay are 7-point favorites, and why? Why are we doing this, Vegas? I understand it's the Jets, but the Jets just scored 40 points, and the Packers' defense has been incredibly underwhelming after looking like it should be one of the best defenses in football. It has looked like garbage. I will say that for whatever reason, I don't understand why it's been like this, but it seems as if, over the last few years, especially since Matt LaFleur's been there, something the Packers have done so well is be a second half team. It might be close or even tied at halftime, but somehow the Packers will come out and win the game by double digits. And that has been the complete opposite this year.
Yeah.
You look at what they did against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had a 2-touchdown lead against them. They let the Bucs get back into it. They did end up squeaking out the win, but it was 14-12. You look at what they did against the Patriots last week, where they had a big lead. The Patriots got back into it, took it to overtime. Yes, the Packers did win on a field goal in overtime, but they shouldn't have allowed it to get that way. Again, on Sunday in London, Packers had a 14-point win or 14-point lead over this Giants team, 17-3. The Giants come out and completely dominate the second half and win that game 27-22. I don't know what's happening in the second half of these games, but Packers have to figure out a way to finish or close out these games. They can't allow opponents, especially inferior opponents like the Giants, and the Bailey Zappi led New England Patriots to come back and make it a game down the stretch. You can't afford to do that. And I will say that the Jets offense has been clicking since Zach Wilson came back. And while I don't like Zach Wilson, I don't think that he's particularly performed exceptionally well. He's performed good enough for an offense that has a lot of talent around him. And so if you sleep on this Jets team, I would not be surprised to watch New York walk away with a win in this game.
New York did all of that against the Dolphins,
again,
who were playing their third string quarterback, who nobody has ever heard. Even his mom was like, "He plays in the NFL now."
They were still facing a Dolphins defense that is decent. It's not a bad defense.
They were exhausted though. Like that's the thing
Sure.
By the end of the game, when they were really able to do their damage, that team was exhausted.
Again,
like the Jets scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. You talk about somebody being absolutely gassed. It would have been this Dolphins defense in the fourth quarter.
Again, all of that being said, I'm still picking the Packers in this game. However, I will not be surprised if the Jets win this one.
I would be shocked. I wouldn't be
if
the Jets win. The Jets have been such a weird team to try to figure out what they're doing. I think even they are like, I don't know. We just kind of came out here. We didn't even know. I wasn't sure the game was at 1:00. I thought we were coming up for warm-ups.
It's only because of how underwhelming this Packers team has been as a whole that I even say that the Jets have a chance in this game. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I've got the Packers in this one. I'm not gonna try to make it fancy or no. I would be shocked if the Jets are close. I think this is an opportunity for the Packers to assert their dominance, which should have been this past Sunday, but they were also
Yep.
playing overseas, so it's hard to know.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of things that concern me on this team. Now, don't get me wrong. Like,
Yeah.
there's still a lot of talent on this Packers team, so I know what they're capable of doing. They're not performing up to that talent thus far through 5 games, and that to me is a little worrisome, especially
That's
for a
fair.
team that should be, I don't know, arguably top 3 team in the NFC.
Yeah.
So you're not playing like it. Well, let's move over to those New York Giants coming off of a upset win over in London against the Green Bay Packers. They now get Lamar Jackson, probably top 3 MVP candidate at this point in time. Lamar Jackson leading the Ravens into MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Currently, the Ravens are 5-point favorites. I think that's fair because the offense has been amazing this year. And I actually have the Ravens in this one. I think the Giants could keep it close or make it interesting with the way that they're playing this year. I've been critical. I've called them a garbage team. And while I still don't think they're a great team or maybe even a good team, I think there's a lot of heart there. There's a lot of, I'll say very similar to the Falcons, to where they're scrappy. They're not going to go away easily. And if things go their way, they're going to put up some points on you. And so I think that the Giants have the capability to make this a close game, but I think the Ravens are the better team. So I'm going to go Baltimore. Who you got, man?
I don't know, man. I'm over here like, I don't know, are there injuries? Like, what do I need to know injury-wise? Like, who's hurt? Not really anybody that moves the needle for me.
I don't think anybody really. No major star players.
Is questionable. Oh, because like I don't think that this Giants team is that good, but they somehow just keep winning.
Scrappy,
and it's
man.
hard to like. It's hard to know what to do with them.
Yeah.
But I do think that this Ravens team is one of the better teams in the league. All right, here's where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna like hedge my bet. I'm gonna hedge my bet here. I'm gonna say it's the Ravens. I'm gonna take the Ravens.
Yeah.
But I think that the Giants cover the line of 5. I think that the Giants are within 5 on this game. I think that although they're not a sexy team, I think they're a team that is figuring it out. This is a top 10 defense. Like I don't
understand that.
Sorry, let me double check before I actually fully commit to saying that out loud. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're the 9th best defense.
That makes no sense to me.
And points allowed. Now you get into total yards, and they're probably closer to 13 or 14. But I mean, points allowed. They're top 10 defense. So
yeah, but they've also played. So they played the Titans in Week 1, which is not a great offense outside of Derrick Henry. They got the Panthers, right. They got the Cooper Rush led Cowboys. They got the Chicago Bears, and then honestly, Sunday's game against the Packers was the best offense they've played.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they could be counter. I definitely think they're counterfeit 4-1 team.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all talking about giving me more reasons to pick the Ravens in this one. I think that the Giants are bound to show their true colors eventually. So
to me, what it is I don't think that Giants defense is legit, and the Ravens offense is absolutely legit. So that's the matchup that I think is going to be overpowering. I don't love the Ravens defense, and I think that the Giants offense is kind of sneaky spicy. I mean, me and you are both big fans of Danny Dimes, and Saquon is looking like the Saquon that we all hoped he would look like 2 years ago. And so, I mean, this team, they don't have receivers really. So that's a tough part. But I think that offense can hang with some teams. And then if you're playing a less than stellar defense like the Ravens, I think they're going to put up some points. I just think the Ravens are going to put up more points because they're the better team.
That's fair. Yeah. I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
So let's head on down to Atlanta. We got the Falcons coming off that heartbreaking loss against the Buccaneers, putting up a fight late in the game. And now they get San Francisco 49ers coming in. 49ers 3-2. And they're 5.5-point favorites. San Francisco on the road, 5.5-point favorites. This is a tough one for me, man, because I still so much of me still wants to pick the Falcons every single week because every single game has been close. They've been in every single game. A couple plays go their way in every single one of their matchups. They could be 5-0 right now. But it just hasn't, shaken out that way. And what's crazy to me is that they could be 5-0 without great quarterback play. Marcus Mariota has not been stellar back there. He's done his job. He's done what he's needed to do for the most part, but he has not been stellar. And that's something that makes me just want to believe in the Falcons that much more, is that they have that talent without a key piece. But I think I've got to go Niners just because they can't seem to get that final push, and they always seem, for whatever reason, in most of these games outside of week 1, they let their opponent build up a lead early, and then they're fighting from behind. And when you have a less than stellar quarterback like Marcus Mariota, fighting from behind is a tough task. And so I've got to go with the Niners. I think they're the more high-powered team, the better team, definitely the better coach team. For now, better coach team. Arthur Smith looks solid. But yeah, I'm going Niners. Who you got, man?
Yeah, I'm with you. I with all my heart want to pick the Falcons in this game, but I just can't in good conscience.
Yeah.
I think that the 49ers are still one of the best teams in the league, and it's because of this defense.
Yep.
And with the strength of the Falcons being their offense, I think that this 49ers defense shuts them down pretty handily.
Yeah.
Right now, the 49ers are allowing 12 points per game to Atlanta's allowing 24 points per game. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy how good this defense is.
I want to know how many of those points that Atlanta's allowing per game come in the first half. Because it seems like that defense always wakes up in the second half and slows down the team. Like I said, outside of week one where they put up 24 points early on the Saints and only allowed 10. It seems like every single week the Rams put up a bunch of points early. The Bucks got out to an early lead. It seems like every single week they're putting up early points, and then somehow that defense comes alive and gets the stops to allow the offense to get them back in the game.
Well, it goes hand in hand with being a team that's run dominant, is because you're gonna the run game wears teams down, and that's really why you're seeing Atlanta have these second half surges, is because if you watch this week's game, the Falcons weren't able to do anything the first half running the ball. Then the second half, it started to come alive, and people were like, "Oh man, they changed the scheme." It's like, no, I'm sure that the defenders for the Bucks were exhausted. They got to be tired now. Defending the run is one of the hardest things to do for 4 quarters. So the Falcons are able to wear teams down, and then when you're able to run the ball successfully, you're getting your defense rest, and so you're slowing the game down by running the ball. You're slowing the pace down. You're giving your defense more time to rest. And so the Falcons defense is coming in fresh when, late in the game, which is not what you normally expect. And they're coming in situations where it's almost easier to predict what the offense is going to do because you're down so much. You're like, they're probably going to run the ball, and then you get them to a 3rd and long. It's like, well, now we know they're passing, and we can, play a pass package. So it could be due to that. To me, that's a logical reason of why these Falcons games have gone the way they've gone. But I mean, I could be completely wrong. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows?
But yeah, I'm with you. I think that the 49ers, they're too good. I love my Birds, but I think San Francisco's got it.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go let Luna in real quick. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. I'm gonna go pee while you do that.
Okay, good timing.
Okay.
What up, Justin? Welcome to the chat.
Hold things down for us while we're gone.
Yeah, the Eagles definitely look legit for sure. I think that's going to be a fun one against the Cowboys. I just don't understand how the Cowboys offense is scoring any points with Cooper Rush as the quarterback. But that Dallas defense is legit.
All right.
All right. Let's head on out to Cleveland, where we have the New England Patriots coming into town to face the Cleveland Browns, coming off a loss to the Chargers, where they put up a fight in that second half. The Patriots somehow blew out the Dolphins. I don't know, or not the Dolphins, the Lions. I don't know what happened in that game. This is a Lions team that was the number one offense going into that game. The best scoring offense, surprising everybody. And they got completely shut down by this Patriots defense. I don't understand what happened. I think maybe the Patriots have a better front than we've thought, led by Matt Judon. He had a very good game against that Detroit offensive line. But I don't think the Patriots necessarily have enough against this Browns team. This Browns team has looked very, very good. Once they get Massage Boy back in there later on in the season, I think they're going to be even better. And it could be a very,
if he knows how to play football still.
True. It could be a very fun year for Browns fans, though. This team looks very good, and they're playing well with Brissett at quarterback. Currently, Cleveland are 3-point favorites. I think that's fair. I have Cleveland winning this game, although I did consider the Patriots. I just don't think that I don't know what to make of the Patriots without Mac Jones in there. That's really what, without Mac Jones or Brian Hoyer, I don't quite know what to make of them. And even with Brian Hoyer, I think I still would pick Cleveland. So who you got, man?
Yeah, it's interesting to me that the Patriots were able to stop Detroit's offense as well. Like, as well as they shut them out. Like, it's just weird, especially because the Patriots have like the 12th best defense in the league points wise right now.
Yeah.
And that's after giving up 0 points to the Lions. So like, there's no telling how far they were down the list as of last week.
There's just a lot of pressure, man. They got a ton of pressure back there. Well, at least it seemed like they got a lot of pressure on Jared Goff. I don't know the exact statistics to back that up, but I know they sacked him twice. They got 6 quarterback hits on him, so definitely putting pressure on him. And Goff did not have a good game. He did not look good.
Yeah, very, very Goffian of him.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm with you. I think that Cleveland, this Cleveland team is just so good at football. Like, I hate it because I am gonna have to watch Tickle Me Watson be out there, and like I'm gonna have to see it. But
you might have to watch it in the playoffs with the way they're playing.
Oh, gosh, I hope not, man. I really hope. Here's what I hope. Here's my real hope. I hope that he comes in and is awful. I hope that Jacoby Brissett keeps that job, wins the job away from him, and they can go to the playoffs.
You're not. Listen, I like your logic there, but you're not winning the job against somebody that you're literally paying $240 million to.
If Deshaun comes in and he throws 2 picks a game,
there's no way. There's no.
What do you mean? There's no way.
There's
The guy
no
hasn't played
way.
football in over a year.
No. I'm not saying there's no way that that's not possible. I do think that him coming in and throwing picks like that is possible. What I'm saying is there's no way that they bench him for Brissett, no matter how poor he's playing, because of the fact that they're paying him $240 million, fully guaranteed. Fully guaranteed.
I don't think there's any way not to. Okay, listen. If he comes in and he's throwing 2 picks a game, and you get to the last game of the season, and you're 1 game out of wild card in the playoffs, are you gonna put him back out there? I truly, like, I understand the thought process. I know that there's a lot of people that are like, hey, you can't afford not to play him, whatever. But like, I don't know. I think at some point, like, if he comes in and it's kind of a big if.
Yeah.
But also, like, I don't know. Like, what if he comes in and he just is not as good as he used to be, which is entirely possible. He has aged through this process, which he's only, what, like 26 at this point?
Yeah, something like that.
But how old is that in massage years? You know, like, there's no telling what that is in. Anyway.
26 equals how many happy endings?
Yeah, who knows? I'm rooting heavily against Deshaun Watson, but it's hard to root against this Browns team. This is something that I wanted to say is you look at how bad Baker Mayfield has been, and you can attribute it to Matt Rule if you want, and that's entirely, that could be the case. But if you look at the success of Jacoby Brissett, I think there's something about this offensive scheme in Cleveland that's fantastic, because they look unbeatable on offense, and then you have that defense, which is just crazy good.
I think Stefanski is just a good coach. I mean, I thought that the first year that he was there with Baker played really well. He had a really good season, and so I thought that Stefanski had a lot to do with it. I think he's showcasing that even more this year with Brissett as his quarterback. So I don't know. I don't see Brissett keeping that job come week 13 or whatever week it is, whenever Deshaun's back. As much as you and I think a lot of people across America would like that to happen, I just don't think it will. And I think that Stefanski, if that scenario plays out like you suggested, and you come down to week 18, you're 1 game out, it's a must-win game, I think Stefanski's going to be put in a very tough position to have to decide between the guy that you're paying, $250 million to, versus Jacoby Brissett. Like, I don't want to be in that coaching room or in the meeting room with the owners and GM if that were to be the case. But let's go out to Indianapolis, where we have the Jacksonville Jaguars coming off a surprising performance against the Houston Texans. Heading into Indianapolis, Indy squeaking out that overtime win against the Broncos in what has been the ugliest football game of the season. Currently, Indy are 2-point favorites. That's probably fair. I don't know what to make of either of these teams. I think the Jags, are clearly on the rise, and the Colts are just kind of staying stagnant. I don't know, man. I chose the Jags in this one, and I don't really have great reasoning why, because I don't know what to make of the Colts.
I did because I did.
Exactly. I think the Jags have a lot of talent, and like I said, they're on the rise, even though they did have a surprisingly bad performance against a bad team like the Texans. I think the Jags are playing better football as a whole over the last 5 weeks than this Colts team. So I'm going to pick Jacksonville. Who you got, man?
I'm with you. I've got the Jags. I think that I want the Jags to be one of the best teams in the league. So I think I'm just in my head, I've just kind of decided that they're headed that way.
Yeah.
And we will see if that is indeed the case or not as the season
I think it is.
Colts.
I think it is. And I mean, for me, in my head, I want the Colts to be one of the best teams. I think, again, they have a lot of players that you want to root for and you want to like, but they have not played well.
I've given up on them already.
Yeah,
I've given up.
I'm kind of with you, especially with the way they looked against the Broncos. They just looked bad. Just as much as the Broncos looked bad, the Colts looked equally as bad. It was a mess. Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, I'm not coming near the Colts as long as Frank Reich's the coach. He's just not a good coach. He's just not.
Absolutely fair. So let's go down to Miami, where we have the Minnesota Vikings coming off a little bit of a close one against the Bears. Should not have been as close as it came down to, but they managed to get the win, and they're going into Miami to face the Miami Dolphins. Do we know who is quarterbacking for them? I know that Teddy Bridgewater was ruled out of the game on Sunday because of the new concussion protocol, where if you have, I believe the term was ataxia, I think is what it was, which is the body's response to a head injury. If that is visible, then you have to be ruled out the rest of the game, is essentially what it boils down to. And that's why Teddy was ultimately ruled out, even though he did allegedly pass through the protocol whenever he was taken back after the hit to Bridgewater. I believe Tua might still be out. I don't know. That's what we got over there, Doc.
So here's what we have so far. As of Sunday, Tyreek Hill was spotted with a walking boot on his left foot following Sunday's 40-17 loss to the Jets.
Ooh.
David Furones of the South Florida Sun Sentinel reports, and this is according to ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
Teddy Bridgewater is in the NFL's concussion protocol after exiting the game to the Jets, so there's no telling what that means.
Yeah.
And then, as of yesterday, the status for Tua Tagovailoa is just still out. That's all it says.
Okay.
Maybe he's still watching MacGruber. Who knows?
All right.
But yeah, so it looks like Tyreek is potentially out. I don't know. I feel like if somebody's in a walking boot, to expect them to play football a week later.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, Minnesota are 3-point favorites on the road against this Miami squad, and that's who I'm rolling with, is Minnesota. I don't think that Minnesota is necessarily the better team, but
they are the healthier team.
They're the healthier team, and with all those potential injuries to the Dolphins' offensive squad, I think the Vikings should win this game, as long as that offense comes ready and can score some points like we know they can. I'm rolling with the Vikings. Who you got, man?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that the Vikings just because of injuries, man. Like I wish that the Dolphins were healthy, because I think that the Dolphins could vie for that division title up there in the AFC North, AFC East,
East.
In their division.
Yeah.
So, I like this Dolphins team, but they're just too banged up, man. Even with Teddy Bridgewater, the Vikings have been rolling. The Vikings are 4-1. Have been. Kirk Cousins is pretty surgical this year.
Yeah. Outside of the game against the Eagles, this team has looked really good.
Yeah, which is hard to play good against the Eagles at all. Yeah. So, I think that the Vikings are the better team as the injury report sits right now.
I agree. Let's head on down to Narlands, the Superdome, where we have the Cincinnati Bengals coming in off that loss to the Ravens in Sunday Night Football to face a New Orleans squad that squeaked out a win against Seattle on Sunday. Currently on the road, Cincinnati are 1.5-point favorites. I think that's probably fair. I don't think there's a lot to love about this Cincinnati team, especially with Andy Dalton still at quarterback. But maybe throw Taysom Hill out there, because Taysom Hill had himself a day. I still don't understand that guy. He just plays whatever position you need him to play, and sometimes plays them very well. But I've got the Bengals in this one. I still think that this Bengals team is a good team, although they haven't quite looked it, I would say, for a full game this year.
Yeah.
They've looked at times, but they can't put a full game together. I don't believe.
Yeah.
But I still think that they're a good team. They're facing a inferior opponent. We got the Bengals. Who you got, man?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm with you. I've got the Bengals in this one. You know me. I don't think I ever can pick the Saints, especially in the state that team is right now.
Yeah.
Uh, pride aside, I think that the Bengals are the better team. I don't think very highly of the Saints at all.
Yeah.
So give me the Bengals in this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just think that the Saints did put up a lot of points against the Seahawks. They got the win, but I think it's because they were facing the Seahawks. Like we saw the Detroit Lions put up, 45 points against them
Yeah.
the week before. So I don't think the Seahawks defense is very good. And when you face bad defenses, it makes your offense look better. I don't think that game is necessarily indicative of what this Saints offense is. And I don't think
Right.
that Saints defense is as stellar as a lot of people in the media want you to believe.
Right. The media wants you to believe the Saints are a good football team.
Yeah. So let's go up to Pittsburgh, where we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming off a controversial win against the Atlanta Falcons. Coming in to face this Pittsburgh squad. Pittsburgh currently sit at 1-4. Been a little bit of a disappointing season for them, but that was to be expected with their question marks at the quarterback position. I do like Kenny Pickett being in there. I don't think Pickett had a bad Sunday against a very good Bills defense. The kid still put up 320 something yards passing. He had a decent day, but less than stellar day against the Bills, but that's to be expected against a good Buffalo team. I think that he will have a better line against this Tampa Bay defense that is not the Tampa Bay defense of old. However, currently Tampa Bay are 8-point favorites, and I think that's pretty disrespectful towards the Steelers. Although the Steelers did just get blown out of the water by Buffalo. It was Buffalo. Buffalo has the best offense in the league. They're probably the best team in the league. And the Steelers team is still young, still going through some growing pains, especially at the quarterback position. In my spicy pick of the week, I have the Steelers over the Bucs. The Steelers over the Bucs. And it's because of Kenny Pickett. I think Pickett's going to have a good day against this Bucs defense. I am a little bit worried about the Pittsburgh defense slowing down Tom Brady. However, I think Steelers defense is maybe at this point underrated, and the Bucs offense is not as scary as it has been in years past. I think this could be a close one, and I've got Pittsburgh winning it.
Yeah, I was just doing a lot of research on Kenny Pickett's performance last game. There's a lot that I like about the Steelers team. Offensively, really solid. A lot of really good pieces. I don't love Kenny Pickett. I do think pretty highly of this Bucs defense, although they looked bad towards the end of the Atlanta game. Their pass defense was fairly solid. So
yeah, that's fair.
And that's really what you need to stop with Pittsburgh. I don't know, man. I want to pick Pittsburgh. Man, that's hard to say, especially with the Pickett and the Pickens and the Pittsburgh and the Pickens. I'm making picks and Pickens.
They're easy to pick. They're easy to pick.
Easy to pick. And I think maybe that Kenny Pickett is a little too easy to pick. If you're a defense, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm gonna stick with the Bucs, even though I feel like I'm choosing the Death Star and picking Darth Vader. I just think at this point, Darth Vader is better than the Padawan that is Kenny Pickett. We know about Darth Vader and younglings, so we'll see how Kenny Pickett can fare against.
That's fair. I mean, you mentioned Pickett's picks though, and He does have 4, but 3 of those were against the Jets, and 2 of those were off tipped passes to his receivers, and another one was a Hail Mary. So like,
I'm giving the kid a break until he gets a chance to prove himself.
oh, I think this is the week, man. I think he's going to have a surprisingly good performance. I mean, completion percentage has been solid. He put up a lot of yards against a good Buffalo secondary. I think he's going to have a sneaky good week.
Yeah, it could.
So I'm here for it. Here for it. Let's go out to LA, where we have the Carolina Panthers heading out there with a new coach. Surprising everybody with how early in the season it is. Yes. Carolina finally got rid of their head coach, Matt Rule. Should have been canned about 9 months ago, but he is gone now. Carolina can be free from the disaster that was the Matt Rule experiment, and they're moving on with Steve Wilkes, I believe, is the new interim head coach. I should probably know who it is. Anyways, they're heading into LA to face the Los Angeles Rams, who are sitting at 2-3. Been a surprising disappointment this year, this LA squad. Currently, though, they are 10.5-point favorites on Sunday against Carolina, which I think is maybe a little disrespectful to Carolina, but no Baker Mayfield, no Sam Darnold. We're getting XFL star PJ Walker as the starting quarterback in this game.
I didn't know Baker was out. What happened to Baker?
Some kind of foot injury, just like Tyreek after the game. He was in a walking boot. So, yeah.
He's listed as doubtful for this game.
Very interesting situation they've got there. I've got the Rams in this one. I don't think that Carolina has much of a chance. There's too much change happening right now. I do like this Carolina team. I'm hopeful that moving on in the season, now that Matt Rule is gone, they can put up a little bit of a fight, especially in a weak division, maybe make a run at that division, because that defense has talent, and they have some offensive playmakers in Christian McCaffrey and Robbie Anderson, guys like that. I still like PJ Walker, but he has not looked good at the NFL level, even though he dominated the XFL. But I've got to go with the Rams. Who you got, man?
Yeah, I'm with you. I even though I don't think the Rams are a very good team, I think that they're better than what the Panthers are able to roll out there. There was part of me that hesitated to pick this game. That was before I knew that Baker Mayfield was injured. But because of like playing for a new coach, maybe they're a little fired up. Maybe scheme wise, things are a little different than they've been on tape. There's just no way to know there. But I think that overall, the Rams are still just a little bit tougher, even though I don't think they're very tough at all.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything to like about this Rams squad, but they're facing a Panther squad that is in a much worse position. That's really what it boils down to.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So let's head up to Seattle. We've got another bird fight out there. Out there in the Pacific Northwest, we have the Arizona Cardinals flying their way up to Seattle to take on the Seattle Seahawks. Currently, Arizona are 3-point favorites on the road. That's probably fair. This team, while there are a lot of question marks about this team, I think they're just more talented on every level, except for possibly head coach. I still don't believe in Cliff Kingsbury, and Pete Carroll has shown to be maybe a decent head coach with what he's been able to do with Geno Smith. This Seahawks offense has been fun to watch, but that defense is so bad. It's so bad. So I've got to roll with this Cardinals offense. I think they're more talented. I think they're going to put up some points against this bum garbage Seahawks defense. Who you got, man?
I guess I'll get the shaker out.
Oh man,
going with the spicy take. I've got the Seahawks in this one. There's just a little, I don't know, there's a little magic to me.
Yeah.
In this Seahawks team, I think that the Seahawks, especially playing at home, this is one of those games that if this were in Arizona, I probably would give it to the Cardinals. But I think that the Seahawks, I like what I see from this offense, especially with how Geno Smith has started clicking so much better with Lockett and DK Metcalf. I mean, that pass that he just laid in the breadbasket for Tyler Lockett was as good as any throw I've ever seen from Russell Wilson, which is shocking. I think that this is another team that, like the Baker Mayfield Cleveland scenario, where I said, this is weird to me that the old quarterback looks worse and the new quarterback looks better.
Yeah.
Here we sit. Russell Wilson's not looking very good. Geno Smith making a case for MVP of my heart. Like, I just, you know, it's hard to say that maybe it was the system.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the system. And so, you know, Geno Smith is not starting to flourish. Geno Smith is flourishing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm going to go with the Seahawks. This Cardinals team, they basically don't exist to me this season. They're not doing anything great. They're not like they're very, to me, they're probably how they look at the Falcons is they're like, oh, are they losing? Does it matter? Like, I don't think that this Cardinals team is good enough to be a contender. I don't think they're bad enough to get a top draft pick. So they're just kind of floating out there. And this Seahawks team, they're just fun, and I want to root for them. So I think that's why I'm taking them.
That's fair. I mean, this Seahawks offense is a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you how you're feeling about that DK Metcalf trade that you made in our Deep Keeper League.
Yeah, honestly, I feel pretty good. So for those of you guys who aren't in there, I have DK Metcalf, who I drafted before his rookie season, felt like a genius. That I was like, hey, this dude was a stud at the combine. I don't see any reason why he's not going to be good. So I took him, and this is a league where we've got like 14 keepers. There's 12 teams. Like, it's ridiculous. And going into this season, my only two running backs that I had were J.K. Dobbins and Tyler Algier for the Falcons, which now I'm feeling pretty good about it because I love Cordell Patterson, but Tyler Algier is starting to prove himself.
Yeah.
Cordell's hurt. But I traded DK Metcalf thinking there's no way he's going to be productive because I was expecting Drew Lock to be the starter. And even Pete Carroll was not crazy enough to put Drew Lock out there consistently. And so I was like, I think this might be the end of DK Metcalf. But DK's played pretty well, but I was already pretty stacked, like pretty comfy with receivers. And I was able to get Devin Singletary and Raheem Mostert in the trade.
Okay.
Both of them have had pretty good seasons. So I feel pretty good because I got two starting running backs out of the deal. And although DK the last 2 weeks has been really good, I still don't know if his ceiling is as high with Geno and not Russ.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not to say he's a bum, but I just don't think that he's going to be as consistent as he was with Russ. So I still feel pretty good about it as of right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Going back to this Cardinals team, you make a good point about them just kind of floating around. I mean, honestly, outside of a miraculous 2-point conversion by Kyler Murray, this team should be 1-4 right now. With their one team coming over the hapless Carolina Panthers 2 weeks ago. They did put up a fight against Philly though, which is interesting because if Philly is as good as we all think they are, sitting at 5-0, this is a team that only lost by 3. And so that's interesting to me. I went with them. I think that might be some recency bias with the way they put up a fight against the supposed best team in the league. But you know, I like the Seahawks. I do think that is a fun team to follow, and we'll see what happens, man. See what happens.
You know what? Got to pick a bird. And okay, which one of those would win in a real fight? Is a Seahawk just a seagull? Is that just like, did they just were like
I don't
let's
know,
call
man.
it a Seahawk?
It looks more intimidating than a seagull. I'm
gonna Google it.
Just looking at the pictures, and we all know what a cardinal is. I think I'm going, even if it's a seagull, I think I'll go with Seahawk. It doesn't exist, does it? It's not real.
It's not a real thing. breaking news. We are breaking news here on Booth Review. The Seahawk is not real. There's no such thing as a Seahawk. The Seahawk is from the media's trying to convince you the Seahawks are real. So I just Googled Seahawk versus Seagull. The first thing, what is the difference between a seagull and a Seahawk? There is no such thing as a Seahawk. Like, it doesn't even try to say, like, it's like just a cool term. It's just flat out, there is no such thing as a Seahawk.
Doesn't exist, man. Doesn't exist.
That's the title of the episode. There is no such thing as a Seahawk. It says, but you super fans probably knew that already. Nope, didn't at all. Didn't know that.
Well, I don't think either one of us belongs to the 12, as they like to call themselves.
No, or that any of, and actually I think this is more like for bird watchers. Like they're like, you know this,
okay.
as an avid bird watcher, you're familiar with the fact that a Seahawk is not a real bird.
We don't belong to that club either. So
Oh man.
moving on, all right, so these next two games are the spicy matchups of the week.
Oh yes.
This one in particular is going to be extra spicy.
I want to start a change.org petition to get one of these to bump the Monday night game.
Please.
Like,
Please.
Can we just not even play the Monday night game? Just don't worry about it.
The fact that this game is not in prime time is an absolute travesty. We have the 4-1 Buffalo Bills taking on the 4-1 Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think I need to remind anybody what happened last time these two teams met. I'm going to anyways. I'm just going to sum it up by saying 13 seconds. 13 seconds is what Patrick Mahomes needed to send this game to overtime, in which the Chiefs ultimately won because of a coin toss, which is garbage. We all agree on that. But playoffs, Bills, Chiefs, this is kind of becoming a rivalry of sorts, I think, in the AFC, with as often as these two teams have met and more times than not, Buffalo being on the losing end. I've talked multiple times this season about the Kansas City hump that Buffalo has to get over to get to that elusive Super Bowl. And I hope that this is the year, but this is a game where it starts here. Bills need to go on the road to Kansas City and get this win. Currently, Buffalo are 3-point favorites. I think that's fair. I think they're the better team. However, I could see that being a closer line. I could see them being maybe 1.5 point favorites. It might be more fair, especially with this game being in Kansas City at Arrowhead.
Yeah, that means that if this game were in Buffalo, they would have Buffalo favored by 6,
which is a ridiculous line.
Yeah.
I do have the Bills winning this game. I think the Bills are the better team. However, that Bills defense is still a little bit banged up. They're still dealing with a little bit of injury, and maybe Patty Mahomes and company can take advantage of that, put up some points quickly against that banged up secondary. But I still like Buffalo, man. I mean, I think it's tough to say Josh Allen's a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes, but looking at statistics, like, these two guys are probably 1 and 2 in the MVP race with Lamar Jackson right there at third. This game's going to be an absolute stellar matchup. I think that if we're lucky, we'll get something close to what we got back in January between these two teams. And I think that that's a real possibility with how these two teams look right now. So who you got, man?
I'm with you. I've got the Bills. This was a tough game to pick. I just, like we always say the AFC runs through Kansas City.
It does still.
But I mean, well, technically, it should run through Cincinnati.
I mean, that's true.
Cincinnati's the last team that went to the Super Bowl representing the AFC. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's up for grabs. And the eye test tells me, everything tells me, looking at this team, that the Bills are the better team.
Yeah.
I think that, I really do. I think that it's 1A, 1B as far as quarterback play.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't really matter to me which one you put where. I think that it's fine. Receivers, give me Buffalo. When it comes to looking at those receiving cores, Stephon Diggs is better than like 3 of the Chiefs sitting on each other's shoulders.
And Gabe Davis, what Gabe Davis has been able to do this year has been ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Now, obviously, Travis Kelce is it's crazy to me to think that he could be the greatest tight end in Kansas City history when Tony Gonzalez played there. But like, I think that that's probably a fair thing to say. Travis Kelce might be the best tight end of all time.
Man just had 4 touchdowns on Monday Night Football.
Like, I would not hesitate to say that I would put Travis Kelce as and tight end is my favorite offensive position. I love watching tight ends play football is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Which let's not take that out of context. But I love watching Travis Kelce. I've never seen a tight end dissect defenses the way Travis Kelce does. So anyway, but defensively, the Bills are just so good. Just so good. And yeah, like you pointed out, that without safety Micah Hyde, that's tough.
I'm just gonna throw it out there just so you're prepared. I'm sure you already know this, but we're gonna get absolutely murdered by Peter in the Discord for both picking the Bills.
I don't think so. I think Peter knows that like this is like he's gonna disagree, but I don't think that he is going to be like. It's not like we picked the Jets to beat the Chiefs, right? Like we're picking the team that is almost I've called them this the whole time. They're the darling of the media this year. Like everybody is like Bills Mafia. We're all Bills Mafia now. Like and so like for us to pick them, it's like we're just falling in step with what most of the country is thinking. But can the Chiefs come out and win this game? Absolutely.
Yeah, fair.
Like this was not an easy game for me to pick. This is not a game that I was like, oh yeah, this is the Bills have this one. No, it was hard for me to pick the Bills, especially in Kansas City.
Yeah.
But I think that there's an element of revenge here from that playoff game where the Bills are going to come in and say, we should have won that game and we're going to tonight.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what we're going to see happen in that game on Sunday.
I'm just saying.
I think the Bills have had this circled on their calendar all year.
100%. I'm just saying that Peter is definitely going to slander us in the Discord chat, at least somewhat, for both agreeing on the Bills against the Chiefs. If you're not in the Discord, I've got it pinned to the top of the YouTube chat if you're in here watching us on YouTube. If you're listening to us, it's in the description of the episode. Come hop into the Discord and watch the slander go down live, because it's going to happen inevitably. But yeah, I think the Bills are just... I think they're the better team, man. I think they just are. Yeah, and if we're all honorary members of Bills Mafia, I'll sign up for that. Throw me through a flaming table. I'm here for that. Let's do it. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Let's move on.
I also want to point out that is the most expensive ticket this week.
Oh,
$267.
That's fair.
$267. Meanwhile, you can go to the brand new, beautiful Rams. Isn't it SoFi? Isn't that where they play?
SoFi Stadium.
Beautiful SoFi Stadium for $32.
Yep.
So it's the power of the product of football. Is when you're putting a good product out there, people will pay out the butt cheeks to go see your team play.
What have you done for me lately? That's what it comes down to.
Yep.
Moving on to the next spicy matchup of the week. We get, it feels weird saying this, but we get a fun NFC East battle on Sunday Night Football. I know that Sunday Night Football has, for whatever reason, over the last, seems like decade now, try and shoved down our throat the fact that the NFC East is a good division. And this year, it actually is. We get the 4-1 Dallas Cowboys heading into Philly to face the 5-0 flying high Philadelphia Eagles. Currently, Philly are 5-point favorites. I think that's fair. I still don't understand this Cowboys team. I think the defense is incredibly dominant and legit, but this offense, it's able to score points with a quarterback they shouldn't be able to score points with. I think this week's going to be the biggest test for them because they're finally facing an actual, real, legit, good defense in this Philadelphia Eagles defense. And on the other side, this Philadelphia offense is going to get their biggest test in facing a absolute Super Bowl contending championship caliber Dallas Cowboys defense, which feels incredibly weird to say that anything about the Dallas Cowboys are championship caliber, because I've thought for years and years and years that this team should not be
we were high on them last year.
Yes, but for years I've thought this team should not be given the love and appreciation that they have seemed to get from the media for a decade plus now for no reason. It feels weird to say that about Dallas, but this is a good team and is a fun team. And I'm stalling because I don't know who I want to pick in this game. I think though that I'm going to go with Philly. And it's because I just don't have faith in Cooper Rush and the Cowboys offense. I think there's a lot of good pieces there. I think the way that you've talked about with them switching up the way that they run their offense, it's worked for them. But I think that Eagles defense is legit, and I think the Eagles offense is good enough to score points on a very good Dallas defense. So I'm going with Philly. Who you got, man?
Yeah, I even think that there's a chance that Philly scores a touchdown on defense this week.
Ooh.
I think that, okay, here's where my whole crux lands.
Mm-hmm.
If Dallas wins this game and Cooper Rush plays well, I will say bye-bye Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
I think that that is when I will give Cooper Rush his flowers. I will give Cooper Rush his flowers if they can come out and he can be competent. I'm not even gonna say he needs to be good, but really what he's been since he's been the Dallas Cowboys starter is he's been a 12 for 15, 13 for 19. I think 19 is probably his ceiling on pass attempts this season.
Yeah.
They really try to limit his pass attempts.
As they should, honestly.
Now I'm just really curious as to see what his pass totals have been. Here we go. Game log. So against LA, he had 16 attempts. He went 15 for 27.
Yep.
Wow. They've had him throwing the ball like 30 times in the game against New York.
But look at those yardage totals. These aren't passes going downfield. It's dink and dunk type passes.
Yeah. And I mean, for a lot of it, he throws a little quick slant to CeeDee Lamb that CeeDee Lamb runs for 45 yards.
Right.
So I think that, again, they're not relying on him a lot. So if he can even just be efficient, against this Eagles defense, I will be shocked and I will finally give him his flowers. But at this point, I think that he throws probably 2 picks. If he throws it 30 times, he absolutely throws 2 picks. Put that down. That's my spicy take. That's my hot take for this game. If he throws 30 times, he's throwing 2 picks. One of them might be for a touchdown. But yeah, the Eagles, they're a better team. If it's Dak Prescott and if it's in Dallas, I might pick Dallas. But as of right now, I know that the Eagles have to lose at some point, and so I'm waiting to pick when they're going to lose. I just don't see it being this game.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I mean, I think that you mentioned it not being at home for Dallas. I think Lincoln Financial Field is going to be incredibly loud on Sunday night. Philly is known for having a little bit of a wild fan base. I think they're going to be going crazy on Sunday night, and it's going to make it a little bit difficult for Cooper and the boys to communicate on offense. And yeah, looking at Philly's schedule, I mean, this team legitimately could go 17-0 against have you looked at their schedule? Yeah. They're facing the Cowboys at home this week. They're facing the Steelers at home on next week, they get the bye next week, and they face the Steelers. Then they have to go on the road to Houston to face the Texans. Then they get the Commanders at home. They have to go on the road to face the Colts. Then they get the Packers. The Packers at home.
At the Colts, but
potentially, I think the Packers are going to be their toughest opponent, and with the way the Packers have played this year, that ain't going to be a tough opponent. Packers have not looked good. I think the Eagles could absolutely tear the Packers apart, especially when you consider how the Vikings played against the Packers in Week 1, and then what Philly did to the Vikings in Week 3. Like this, Week 2 might have been, but either way, then they get the Titans. They go on the road to New York to face the Giants. They go on the road to Chicago to face the Bears. They go on the road to face Dallas on Christmas Eve. That's another game that they could potentially lose. Then they get the Saints at home and the Giants at home to close out the season. That's a potential 17-0 type schedule. I mean, there's a couple of games, mainly the Cowboys on the road and the Packers.
And maybe the Giants?
Maybe. See, this is what I'm waiting for with the Giants, is to get them to face Philly in that division, because and it's unfortunate we don't get those games until December, but I don't think that this Giants team is very good, and I would like to see them against a team of Philly's caliber, because that's another team that has a very easy schedule to go.
Yeah,
it's interesting, man. I mean, this Eagles team is very good and has a chance at having a historically good season.
And I was pretty on the front end of that.
You were spot on with it, man. I mean, I think we both went Eagles for the division. I know that I had Eagles and Cowboys tied at 12-5 for their record.
I might have actually had the Cowboys. I think I had the Cowboys winning the division, and then the Eagles coming in second, but I had the Eagles making the postseason.
Yeah, I might have had the same thing because I don't remember how my tiebreakers shook out. But either way, I had both these teams making the playoffs. Both of them finishing with the same record at 12-5. So, yeah, that's going to be a fun division race to follow as the season, chugs along. Well, let's go over to Monday Night Football, ending on a little bit of a dud, but with Brandon Staley coaching in this game, anything is possible as far as excitement goes. We have the 2-3 underwhelming Denver Broncos with a hack job for a coach facing Staley's Los Angeles Chargers. Currently, the Chargers are 5-point favorites, despite doing their best to give away a game against Cleveland on Sunday. They are 3-2. I think the Chargers are the better team. This is a team that I had a lot of faith in before the season. This is a team I still have a lot of faith in despite their recent performances. And I think that me and you both agree they're just a little too banged up right now. But I have the Chargers winning this game, mainly because I don't have any faith in this Broncos team. If you watched Thursday Night Football last week, first off, I'm sorry. I feel bad for you. I feel bad for all of us that sat through that awful, terrible football game. But you know how terrible this Denver team is on both sides of the ball. The defense looks terrible. The offense looks even worse. And being without Javonte Williams, who is a stud running back, is absolutely a big loss for them. So I've got to go with the Chargers. I think they're just the better team. Who you got, man?
Same. I think that the Chargers. I want to love these Broncos. I was very high on these Broncos, and again, coaching. That's the only when all else fails, you just point to coaching and say, "What are you doing? What are you doing, man?" So I'm gonna assume that it's coaching, but give me the Chargers in this one, even though they probably will be several times where the Chargers attempt to give this away by
100%.
going for it on 4th and 8 on their own 20 or something stupid. So I'm gonna take the Chargers, but
as long as Brandon Staley continues to coach how he's coached his entire time in LA, I think that every single game the Chargers will attempt to give the game away as much as possible. He cannot get out of his own way, which is unfortunate because of the talent level of this team. But the Chargers, better team. I don't think there's much to talk about. There will be a lot of talk about if the Broncos manage to win that game, though. Because I think what it's going to take is Denver's offense coming alive and being the offense that we all expected to see. And
them remembering how to play football
through 5 games, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, but sadly.
Yep. Well, that wraps up all of the games for week 6. I think it's going to be a good week, man. There's some really good matchups.
Yeah,
really
we got teams on
ones.
bye. The bye teams, you didn't list them. We got to tell people.
Oh,
we got to tell people who's
the
not
teams,
playing.
The teams on bye are the Detroit Lions, which is a good thing because they need to recover from that absolute beatdown they got from the Patriots. Please, for the love of God, Dan Campbell, figure out a way to get that defense motivated and playing well. And let's get the offense back to where it was through the first 4 weeks and not what they did against the Patriots. We also have the Tennessee Titans on bye. The Las Vegas Raiders, which the Raiders also need to bye after losing how they did to the Chiefs. The Texans are also on bye. So there you go. There's your 4 teams that are on bye. Week 6.
Texans being on bye, nobody's going to miss them.
Nobody's going to miss them.
Other than somebody will miss getting to play them.
Yeah.
Like, man, can't play the Texans.
I mean, that's a bye week in and of itself unless you're Jacksonville. But anyways, as always, we appreciate you hanging out watching us on YouTube. If you're in here, thanks for hanging out. We do this every week right around 8 o'clock. So if you're not in here watching us on YouTube, hey, maybe hop in here and hang out. If you listen to us in your car, on the road, in your office, wherever, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, however you consume your podcasts, we very much appreciate it. We thank you. If you're not in the Discord, come hang out in the Discord. It's where the football talk and sports talk in general goes down. I'm going to keep plugging it because it's the best of our social medias. We're pretty terrible at the rest, but if you want, go follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, all that good stuff. But as always, we appreciate you. We love you guys. Thanks for the support. And I think that's that.
That's that.
Good one, man.
That
Hey,
was a good.
Everybody in chat, thanks for hanging out, guys.
Yeah, that was fun.
Sorry
we can't talk more. We don't usually we don't because we're really just recording the podcast and then also streaming it, so we don't interact as much. But yeah, we appreciate you guys hanging out.
I think it's a little bit of both. Rodgers definitely misses Devontae. I do think that's probably the biggest issue with the Packers offense right now is they don't have a go-to big play guy, which a lot of teams don't, but Devontae is certainly that. Like when you need a big play, Devontae's going to make that play for you. And I mean, unless he's getting run into by Hunter Renfrow, but
or a cameraman.
Yeah, or a cameraman. But that's what the Packers offense is lacking. Aaron Jones is kind of that to an extent, but he's not nearly as explosive as Davante Adams, and they don't have that big play type guy, especially in the passing game. And on the flip side, I think Davante's missing Aaron Rodgers because the Packers somehow are sitting at 3-2, and this Raiders super team that is supposed to be super good is sitting at 1-4.
Some of us didn't buy the whole super team mantra.
One of us. The rest of the world bought them. But hey, we appreciate you hanging out.
So you joined the Discord. So feel free to just hang out and chat in the Discord too. So
there's daily chat going down in the Discord. That's the place to be for sure.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Yeah, I think that'll about do it for us tonight. I've got to get to editing the podcast so I can get it up for everybody to listen to by tomorrow.
Yep.
But
I'm out of here to go to bed because I'm an old man.
Get some sleep, man. I know you need your beauty rest. So
I do, man. Gotta keep it. Gotta keep this solid 6 going. It doesn't happen on its own.
I think you're being very generous to yourself. But
okay. Hey.
Yeah. Again, thanks for hanging out, everybody. We'll see y'all next week.